Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you want to see more of this build. I am sort of basically recording pretty much every nut and bolt. So here we are, bulkhead removal bar. Bulkhead's removed, all the edges are done, haven't done any sealers or anything yet. Now comes the part where we're actually going to fit the Brit part bar. Now I know this is going to come as a shock, and I know that many of you won't believe what I'm telling you. You're going to think I'm a liar, you think I'm incapable, I'm useless, whatever. It doesn't fit. Wow, hey? So I'm going to show you now why it doesn't fit and what I'm having to do to make it fit. And I can make it fit by graunching everything up as the instructions suggest. They sort of suggest putting all the bolts in loosely and then tighten everything up. But I'll show you what happens if I do. So I think you might like this. Okay, I'm having to hold the camera and walk around with it because if I try and put it on a tripod and show you what's going on, it's not impossible because we've got to look sort of down and up and everything. So basically what the kit consists of is you've got this main central bar here and you've got these two vertical uprights on the end, and you get the plates to go under here. Where's my hand? Under here, and you get the nut plates that go on the back of there. So there's studs that are going to come up through here with nuts on them. If you have got a Puma or I believe TD5, if you look down here you can see there's two bolt holes. You can see here a rusty mark where the bracket was. In fact, the brackets are hanging up over there. You can see them there. If I bring you in, those, where's my hand? Those there, okay? Those brackets there bolt in to the floor. Zoom back out, camera. Right, so those brackets there bolt on, you have to take those off to get the plates in up from underneath. Now, basically they've just got rubber bugs in them when you get the vehicle. So the first thing we can see is that these holes aren't aligned. All right, so it's over to the right too much. You can see the holes underneath in the bodywork and the holes on the bracket. Now I've got this M12 bolt just shoved in here to hold it roughly in place. You can see that if I hold the camera here, you can see that really the bracket should be fitted more like that, so it lines up with the holes in the body rather than that. The trouble is then, if you look here on this side, the gap between there and the corner and the gap between there and the corner is a lot different. So if we actually move it over to get this centered up, it's going to be touching there and leave a big gap over here. So that's the first thing. So I thought, well, what I'll do is I'll try and bend this out, but if I bend that up, it's going to move this end upwards, which is not a good thing because they're already, as you can see, a little high. Okay, so these brackets could have been welded on slightly higher to capture that tube better. The other thing is, if you look at this one, how this fits on the bottom, you can see it's touching on the top. You've got a bit of a gap at the bottom. Now I'm not going to worry about that. That gap's probably about 3 or 4 millimeters. I'll probably make up a plate to go in behind here so that it doesn't distort the aluminium. But to achieve that, I've had to put 5 millimeters of spacer under here, under these bolts. So between the bracket, I don't know if I can get the camera up there, so between the bracket and the bodywork, in fact you can see them now, there's two washers. Here's the two washers here. Two washers there to give us a 5mm focus, to give us a 5mm space. Now if I bolt it in, now I followed the instructions religiously, okay, and if I bolt it in here with 3 M10 bolts, so it's bolted straight up to the capping with no spacers in there, that's what it's like. And you can see I've got a great big gap. I mean, I can get my finger in there, probably get my little finger right in there on the bottom, you can see there. Okay, so there's a huge gap at the bottom. So that's no good, so we need to space that down to push it back, and then we still get a little gap at the bottom. So, I mean, we could elongate the hole slightly, I suppose, and have it sort of manipulated. The biggest issue by far, though, if you remember, I said I put this bar on, and I clamped it, and I measured from here to here, before I took everything apart, before I cut any bulkhead out or anything, and it was 1,542 millimeters wide. If I tighten all this up, okay, if I tighten all this up, it goes to about 1,560. So it's pushing the body out roughly 20mm. Great. Basically this bar is too wide, and I doubt you can see, but the end of it is cut off flush, and as you tighten it up, it sort of rolls around this tube and pushes everything apart. So I've measured across the back corners here, and they're 1,542. So in other words, the tub was perfectly square. If I bolt this in as it is, I'm going to end up with the, if you like, the vehicle being sort of coming along and then getting wider and then getting narrower again as it goes forward. I've also measured the same position across the bulkhead and it's 1,542. So, you know, to keep the sides parallel and not have them coming out 10 mil and then going back in again, I need to modify this bar. So what I'm going to have to do is cut the ends off, shorten the ends, and then relocate that bracket, which is, we see it better on this one. There's a bracket on the back which is welded on. You can see that I'm going to have to take that off because you can already see where I've got this bolt. You can see there that, you know, it's way over that way. It needs to be coming this way. So that's what I'm going to do. So once again, I'm having to rework stuff. And I think really that's the only way about it, because I certainly don't want to be putting any force on the body. The other thing I've noticed is this here isn't parallel. In fact, it looks like it is parallel now. No, it's not. So, and me being an engineer, I like to have everything perfect, and I don't think it's going to happen. This is actually putting quite a lot of force down here as well, because as I say, the whole thing is too tall. What I could do is cut these off and mount them further up, but you know, I may as well make a bloody bar myself if you've got to do that much work. So I think what I'm going to do is concentrate on getting these fitted, you know, parallel here for it to perfectly vertical, get them fitted correctly up here, get them fitted down there, and then we'll make this bar fit afterwards. So wish me luck. Okay, so the last segment you saw was morning, and now this is evening. It's 6:15. So, oh, how many times have I said I shouldn't be having to do this? This is just awful. I have done a hell of a lot of work to these parts to make them fit, and as you can see now down at the bottom, we've got this plate fitting lovely and flush on the wheel arch. The same on this side, all nice and flush, looking lovely. There is a lot of work. I'm not going to show you under there because it looks a mess. I'll show you when I take them off, but it's there is a lot of work gone in there, a lot of repositioning of holes and welding and stuff. Now, something I've just thought of, something in the instructions they tell you, which is, I believe, is wrong. What they do is tell you to get this in place and then drill these 3 holes. Okay, there's no hole in this corner. They tell you to drill these 3 holes, and then you come along and you put this plate on the back. Okay, I've got the wrong one. No, I haven't. You put this plate on the back and go through. Well, the trouble is, if exaggerated, you drilled one hole here at the top of the slot and the next hole at the bottom of the slot, that wouldn't fit. So what I'm going to do, I've marked the vertical positions, so I'm going to drill 1 hole, okay, drill it out to like sort of 9 mil, and then see if I can get a bolt to go in there and actually bite into it, and then I'll use my little guide again to drill these other holes. So we've got the position marked square from the sides, okay, so you can see the lines there. So we've got that all marked. Now what we're going to do is actually the vertical position will be taken care of by this plate from the middle of this top hole. Okay, wish me luck. Right, so there we go, that's those all in. Lighting's not very good, I'm sorry. It's the, I don't know what's going on. I think it's the light behind me is shaded by the garage door or something, but there you go, you can see they're in. Okay, all nice and square and even now. And when you look at it from the front, they're all pretty square. They're just off of square with the upright here. It's added quite a bit of strength. And when I measure it, the tape measure, it's still 1,542 mil. So also nice and square. The other thing is, I would advise anybody doing this, if you've got the tub off, make sure everything's level and square, because if the tub is kind of twisted, if your frame is low on this corner like mine is, because my floor is not flat, then the actual tub will be out of square. And when you bolt all this in, it'll probably hold it out of square. So make sure everything's square and flat before you start bolting things up. So what I'll do now is, hello Jess. What are you doing, Jess? You helping, are you? You helping me out? Are you? Good girl. What we got to do now is flip this over again, and then we got to mark around the back of those plates where all the sealant is, and then we can get the sealant off with a hot air gun, and then we basically bond those plates into the tub, so they'll be there for good then. So there we go. And the next time I'll show you, maybe in this part, maybe in the next part, I'll show you what I've had to do up here. You won't believe your eyes. So just to get these plates to fit nicely at the bottom. So there we go. I don't know what's going on here. I can't believe that it's a Brit part issue. This must be a one-off. It can't be a design thing, because I'll have to go and watch Mike again on Britannica Restorations. I don't remember him having this much trouble. I know he's not a big fan of Brit part, but I don't remember having this much trouble. And if I'd have just bolted it in as it was per the instructions, this would all be bent to buggery now, and I'd have the tub all pushed apart as well. So anyway, let's call it a day now, and we'll come back tomorrow. Okay, here we are next day, tub turned over, tub upside down, and you can see over here, cleaned up the little areas where these plates are going to go, and I've had to grind some metal off the plates because they were fouling on the bottom here. So ground them up, put some etch primer on them, just chuck some gloss paint on. This is all going to get covered in them stuff anyway. So they're going to go like that, and I'm going to glue them in. So I'm going to put plenty of sealant on there, and then glue them in, bolt them up, let the glue go off, and that'll hold everything in place then. So I won't get any water getting in between there. And as I've said before, once it's all done, we're going to be spraying it with this rubberized paint stuff, and go from there. So I'll turn the camera off now, get some sealant on there, and then I'll show you it being bolted together. Okay, I think that should do us. Plenty of sealant on there, and can't really have too much. We're going to make sure we don't get any water getting in, that's the main thing. So I'm going to put a bolt through here, get this on, and these are dummy bolts, they're not the actual bolts that come with the kit. Come on, I can't hold the bolt square, it's my problem, it's not the... There we go. Look at that, turn the camera on, and just starts barking. Which is par for the course. Get this third one in. The problem is not the alignment, it's the fact that I can't hold the bloody bolt square. Thread in, come on. Should use a longer bolt, shouldn't I? It's not quite long enough, that one. It's only got about an inch protruding. Down. Pull that one down. You can see all the sealant oozing out now, which is a good sign. So we'll give them a good pull. And there we go. Simple as that. And then we can get a tool and just run around the edge of there and just just basically smooth some of that out. So I've got a wooden spatula, so just run around like that and just basically smooth it out. Just like so. There we go. So that's that. I'm going to get the other side done. And I think we'll call that a day for this part because it's probably gone on quite long. Now in the next part we'll be flipping it over and we're going to start working on the main tube and get that on those ends where it all needs sorting out. So that'll be another video because I'm going to leave this now for 24 hours to go off before I disturb it. And I think we're going to have to get this out in the rain because the Mustang needs to come in. I think we've got some horrible weather coming. So I'll see you all soon for part 5. I'm not sure when it's going to be. It could be a week or so, but we shall see.